Words are useful for their purpose, but they are no substitute for brains.
All right, here we go.
I have to say, well done, Ray. Well done. Well played, my adversary. Well played.
Fenix isn't gay, but if he was, he'd pick Fremont.
Oh yeah, he'd be living down there with you in the bunker, man. Woo!
Once you go free, you always do the Z.
Like one day I'm not going to Duncan, and you could get a controller, a new Xbox, possibly even a cord.
And now the group that can't count its nuts and come up with the same number twice.
Welcome to BGFG, episode 395. I'm your host, Chris Fenix. And I'm typing something. I am doing I don't know why that didn't work. I am doing this show by myself today because unfortunately Mr. Freeman cannot be here this week. There was a tornado warning and he lost power for a little while and he lost his internets. So his interwebs aren't working, so he cannot be here. And unfortunately, because of our schedule, we have no way to get around that. But that's okay. You got me. It's been a long week. It's been a vacation week, which is nice. There is a possibility that we will not be doing a show next week. I'm kind of upgrading the studio a little bit with a few different things. And we're gonna see if I can get that done before Thursday. Let's see if we can do it that way. Oh, there's something on my camera. What the hell? Let's get into this week's news because there is a good amount. BGFG News. You heard it here third. All right. So first up, there's a couple of there's been some talks. There's been some things. There's been some discussions on the railways. Now, usually about more than 1,000 derailments happen per year. And that was the problem in Ohio, which we reported on the show before. But in the past month, there's been quite a few, which is kind of disturbing. So I decided to dig a little bit. So like I said, there's over 1,000 derailments that happen per year. We had the Ohio one we talked about on the show last week. Is it the last week or the week before? We had one in Florida. South Carolina had one. Texas had one. The industry is basically in turmoil at this point, and it's gotten worse since the pandemic. Like they thought that they were going to be able to bounce back because again, during the pandemic, it was very few people, few employees, not a lot of transportation. Everything was kind of really slow, and understandably because people aren't going to work. But they haven't made that comeback yet. A lot of stores, big box stores, a lot of companies have made that transition. I don't even think there's a lot of companies left that are allowing you to work from home unless it's going to be a permanent thing. Anybody that had you working from home at the time has pretty much called everybody back. But the railway services have not gotten better. Last year, the Transportation Board held a public hearing, and they tasked the big four railway companies, which is BSNF, CSX, Transportation, which I've seen a lot of those, Norfolk Southern Railway and Union Pacific Railway. Those big four, this Transportation Board has put them at a task of developing a service recovery plan and provide monthly updates for that progress. And the railways haven't really done that at all. It's not great. And what people don't realize is that railways are used for a lot of things that shouldn't be flown or possibly shouldn't be driven. Let's say, for instance, you have a massive amount of ethanol that's being transported. You don't want that to be transported on a truck most of the time of that magnitude because if they get into an accident, that shit's going to blow up. And you certainly don't want it in an airplane because there's really it's like if a truck is on the highway and it blows up with ethanol or gasoline in it or whatever chemicals in there, then you can isolate that and contain that. If that happens on the plane, you're going to lose everybody on the plane as well as wherever the plane's going to land. And that's a problem. So they They're also the least expensive way to move large freight, cars, things like that. It's just easier, and it's coast to coast. So there's always a way to get something. If you have large cargo that you need transported, yes, a plane will do it quicker, but the railways have always been that thing like, okay, let's put it on there, we'll ship it out. It's good to go. An average railway worker makes about 160 grand a year, but they've also cut many, many jobs, and that's not good. Sometimes, in some cases, it's about by 29% they've cut jobs. One conductor said that the shifts that they used to be 9 hours, now they're running 19-hour shifts as a conductor. Because of all the bad karma with trains right now, shippers are turning to trucks. Again, that's not great either because when you have a truck and the truck gets into an accident, not only is all your freight taking forever, but you now have a lot of collateral. You have accidents on the highway. You have uh, traffic jams. You have a lot of inconvenience more than anything else. But you do have these huge accidents on railways. It's a little bit easier. Now, one of the things we talked about before, or that we've discussed before, that you might know of, is that we're really looking into autonomous vehicles. So the question remains: is why haven't they done this on trains? Well, they do have They do have something called positive train control that's installed. It's been installed for several years. This will override the conductor if they're going too fast. So if the terminal decides that the train is going too fast, it can automatically and remotely slow it down. One of the precautions is that they do rail inspections on these rails when they get in. Again, there's not a lot of people. Jobs are being cut 29%, as we said, but at the same time, you have people that aren't going to do that job. A lot of times it's because they don't want to be away from home for long periods of time, or they don't want to relocate their home. There's not a, I mean, it's not like in you know, the 20s and 30s where you had a railway station like all around. I mean, up the road here, I had a railway station. I can't tell you how many old railway stations I've passed by in my tiny little state that have been converted into coffee houses or restaurants or ice cream parlors. So there used to be a lot. Now there's not. And even the commuter rails have been shutting down. I know there's two that I used to go by on my way to work that are now closed. You're gonna have to go someplace else to catch the train. One of the precautions, like I said, that they do is rail inspections. But some of these trains, once they're fully put together, are a mile long. That takes a while to do. And again, consistency. Now they're trying to use some tech with laser beams, lasers that will check the track ahead of time. But that can't even be foolproof anyway. What happens if the rail takes a slight turn for some reason? Those lasers might not work as well as they should have. Uh, the bottom line is that railways need to spend some money to upgrade their technologies to make things safer. And again, because they make so much money, why is it so hard for these big businesses to understand that if you just simply pay people, okay? Look at the living wage. You making 300 grand a year and up, you have no idea what a living wage is anymore. You have absolutely no clue at all. And I can tell you that if you're making 15, 16, $17 an hour, that's really not a living wage. I make more than that, and it's barely a living wage. If it wasn't a two-income household, then you'd be screwed. You're not buying a house. You're not buying new cars. You're not buying any of that stuff. You're just not. And in fact, I know several people that I work with that have to have, roommates or more than one roommate in order to pay the bills to live close to where they work to save on gas. I mean, it's catch-22. You're looking at all these options. Sure, you might want that wonderful V8 or that SUV because that's you, and you're 6'3", 300 pounds, but you can't because all you can afford is that Ford Fiesta you're going to wedge your ass into every morning because that's all you can afford. It's really a tough call, and I think that with the railroad industry, it's a big industry. You need to spend the money. You need to get the railways fixed so that these sort of accidents don't happen. You need to pay the workers properly and hire more workers. It isn't always about your paycheck. And automation is an actual thing. It can be used pretty well. Automating a railway, I mean, you're not taking turns, it's a railway. You can automate those things. I don't see why you can't. Look at what Mercedes is doing. Mercedes is already setting the bar. Again, it's six of one, half a dozen of the other. They announced that they're going to be the first car company to achieve level 3 driver assist here in the States. Their Drive Pilot system has been approved by the state of Nevada. Now, my first argument is, I'll get to that in a minute. It's the only level 3 system in the country. Level 3 should enable all aspects of driving, but still have a driver ready at the wheel just in case something sad happens. Now, there's other companies. The other companies have done this. Tesla's full self-driving. That hasn't even gone anywhere. Ford's got Blue Cruise. GM's got Super Cruise, and they're all on level 2, which is basically enhanced cruise control is all it is. For instance, if you're on cruise control and it senses that you're getting too close to the car in front of you, it will back off the cruise control for you. Again, it's okay. Mercedes on level 3 is capable of running on, and I quote, suitable freeway sections where there is high traffic density and where there's high traffic density. So basically what they're saying, again, they're saying that basically it's bumper to bumper, less than 40 miles an hour. It'll work fine. Okay. But I think Mercedes is stretching it a little bit because Nevada, there's not a real lot. There's not a real lot in Nevada. There's a lot of open roads. I'm not saying doesn't have, cities and towns and shit like that. I'm saying, but there's a lot of open road. A lot of people that like to drive there because it's open space. So again, level 3, I get it. You're doing a lot, but maintaining speed and distance on the highway, not hard. I mean, shit, you got cars now that your side mirrors will actually blink and you'll get an alert on your dash if there's a car even close to you coming by you. So it's not that hard to maintain a self-driving on a highway, in my opinion. You should still have a driver behind the wheel, and if you're driving like a SUV or something, you shouldn't get up and go in the back, or a motorhome get up and go in the back. That's not what this is about. And the bumper to bumper thing, I don't know. I just don't know how I feel about that one because I'm in a lot of bumper to bumper traffic, and it would be great not to constantly press on the gas, press on the brake, press on the gas, press on the brake, and have the car automatically do that for me. But what happens when I look over and I see a space where I can get into the other lane and maybe go a little faster? I'm gonna have to take control. Will it automatically stop at that moment? Am I gonna have stutters? When my wife and I traveled last, we rented a SUV and I had all the bells and whistles, and I had to pull over on the highway and look up the owner's manual to shut half of that shit off. I thought it was going to kill us. For instance, there's times where you're looking and you're kind of looking over to the side and see if there's any cars coming. You go to turn over and you have X amount of time. You're a driver, you know it. You look in your side view and you go, I got enough time. Look in your rear view to confirm. And then you swing over. The car was trying to push me back into the lane, thinking that I was slipping. And that's not good because now my reaction time's off. The other car's still coming. It's just, I don't really like it. I don't think it's ready. I said it before. I don't think fully automated driving is even close to being a realistic thing. We've seen pictures, we've showed them on the show of where autonomous vehicles and what their camera looks like and what they're sensing. You possibly in suburbia at a low mile per hour, but and anywhere else, any city traffic, any rural, I would say spot that has a 45 to 55 mile per hour, I don't see this ever happening. There's too many variables. There's stop signs, people that run in red lights. There's animals that run across the road. There's crosswalks. There's all sorts of shit, and I just don't agree with it. I don't. It just, I don't know. I don't know if it's going to work as described. Tesla's doesn't at all. In other confusion news this week, that confused me a little bit. Tile, the direct competitor to Apple AirTags. Tile is strange because Tile just added an undetectable anti-theft mode. Now just chew on that for a minute. they added an undetectable anti-theft mode. It's designed to make tile accessories undetectable by the anti-stalking scan and secure feature. That's just dumb. Like, that doesn't make any sense to me at all. At all. Scan and secure is a feature with Android and iOS devices that allows your phone to scan for detected nearby tile devices. Great. This way, if you have somebody that's stalking you, if you're a female, male, doesn't matter. If you have somebody stalking you or tracking you, you get into your car, you can actually scan, and it will alert you if there's something that you don't own that's connected or close by in the car. Now, this could be anything from, a passenger that you have that has one in their vehicle, or it might be something that somebody stuck into the inside of the bumper to track you. It's not good, but it's nice that they actually have that scan and detect feature. This stops all of that from being used. Like, that is the dumbest shit I have ever heard in my life. Tile's anti-theft mode disables scan and secure so that it can't be detected by anyone that doesn't own the tracker. Unlike AirTags, Tile does not let you know if there's an unknown tracker nearby. That's bad. That is definitely not good. That's exactly how stalkers use it. And by doing the scan and detect, that's how stalkers get caught. Tile says, don't worry, we have things in place to prevent this. Really? Like what, you might be asking? Like, to activate the anti-theft, you have to provide a government-issued ID. Okay. That's easily forged. I mean, shit. We used to get them as kids to get into the liquor store or into a club. So I'm pretty sure it's not going to be hard to get a fake one if you're really considering stalking. Oh, and there's a $1 million fine if they catch you. If. It's a big if they catch you. You're not registering. I mean, you're on an app on your phone. I get that. But even if you buy a bullshit phone, that's a smartphone, you put the Tile app on there and you have a fake ID and you scan the fake ID and that there's so many bad ways and there's so much litigation I can see. Users that turn on anti-theft, and this is from what Tile said. Users that turn on anti-theft know that their information can and will be shared with law enforcement. Now, I'm not dinging on law enforcement as a whole. It's needed and they get really put into, it's a 50-50. In some ways, they get put into a really bad situation all the time, like with special needs people. And at the same time, you don't want them to be so busy or so understaffed that they can't get to your house if you call 911 for 20 minutes. That's not right either. But we've talked about this sort of thing before with stalking, and there's been many proven cases. We did the story on the Ring doorbell. It was the same situation. Yes, the police departments have the Ring doorbells. How many police have we seen arrested for domestic violence, for stalking? We know it's factual that a lot of these marriages go bad in these high stressful job situations like police officers. So who's to say that they're not going to track it? Now that they have access to the Ring doorbell, but they also have access now to Tile. Not that the police departments are really going to care. They're not going to have time for that. But what happens for that one police officer, that one rookie that's just still young, jilted lover, wants to follow and see where his wife's going because he thinks his wife is cheating or something like that? Come on. This is basic security 101. And you wonder why our security system and if we get cyber attacked, we're screwed because our system is so, I wish Freeman was here. Our system is so gigantically fucked up that if we were ever to get seriously cyber attacked, we are screwed. We are screwed. Our grid system is going to go, it's just bad. It's bad on multiple levels. And speaking of things that might not work, as I was saying, I was thinking after watching TV with everything else going on in the world with Ukraine and Russia and all the talk we've heard about security and what's not secure and what is secure, I started thinking, and of course it didn't help when I was watching, some Ancient Aliens too. Are our nukes even working anymore? Like, I actually looked this shit up because I wasn't sure, but I don't want to see any world war. I don't. U.S., Russia, and China all have nukes, and these are the three that are in play right now. No nation has been able to do a full nuclear test by a ballistic missile since 1945. Okay. The last time anyone tested anything was in 1961. The Soviets did it. And then in 62, we did it. And then in 66, China did it. So this is in the 60s, all this stuff. If you look at the picture I put in the show notes, I mean, some of these silos and establishments and bases aren't exactly up to snuff. Now, I embellished a little bit. I found some old rusty ones. But even when you look at some of the other tech that's at these bases and at these missile silos, and you'll see them. I think I grabbed a halfway decent one. There's a good one. It's not up to date. You know, everything still works, I'm sure, but everything's getting a little bit older. And Russia's already said that they're fully committed to a nuclear war, which I don't believe they are. I think one or two people are, but I don't think their entire country is. I mean, that's just not the way things go. But unfortunately, the people that control the buttons are the people that are all set and ready to do it. And I hope it is about 80% scare tactic. No one knows if these ballistic missiles are going to work, or even if the warheads are working. We have no way of testing these. No way. No country does. And it's something that's kind of problematic. You know, if this does come to war, or God forbid, if anything else ever happened in our lives and we need to defend ourselves or our planet or anything else, we don't even know if this stuff's going to work at all. It might not even leave the silo. We have no way of testing these things. Yes, there is preliminary tests, and before I start getting email and Twitter feeds, there is preliminary tests that you can run. There is, I can't think of the word right now, but you can run different, essentially fake tests, protocols, making sure things working. But at the same time, it's just, you can do diagnostics till you're blue in the face, but when you hit that button and that doesn't launch at full capacity, maybe 3 out of the 4 rockets burn, or maybe the ballistic missiles payload doesn't fire off, or it just doesn't leave the silo. I mean, there's so many different things that can go wrong. Is the fuel still good? If you leave gasoline in your gas tank for a month or two? No, let's just say 2 years. If you leave your gas tank, the gas in your gas tank for 2 years, there's a very good possibility you need to drain that shit and put new gas in it. Is that the same case with nuclear missiles? Is the propulsion still going to work? I mean, there's so many questions, and I don't even know if any of these work. It's just strange, and it boggles my mind in a lot of ways. All right, that's it for the news for this week. Let's get into music. Again, it's a short show. There wasn't a lot of news, but I did find some good music for this week. We have a new song from Metallica, and Generation X loves us some Metallica. Even hip-hop people love Metallica. They're going to have a new album, releases on April 14th, called 72 Seasons. This is one of the tracks off of it, called If Darkness Had a Sun. It's a little bit long, but again, it's Metallica. Come on. And the other side, we'll get to some Sick Style and some definitely news that's going to make you think. So we'll catch you on the other side. Metallica. How can you ever go wrong with some Metallica? It's Metallica. I really shouldn't have to say anything else. Even though Fremo's not here, I'm doing some Modelo today. Love me some Modelo beer. What a good beer, in my opinion. All right, so let's get into some stick style, and then we have some other news to talk about, which is a little bit closer to my heart.
Gaming.
All right, first up in stick style this week, we have the PlayStation Plus games for March. The Essential tier, you're going to get Minecraft Dungeons, Battlefield 2042, Code Vein, as of March 7th. That should all drop. The Extra and Premium tiers, you're going to get those three, as well as Tachia, not really sure about that, Ghostwire Tokyo, which was a really good game. Immortals Phoenix Rising, I played that. I really enjoyed that. I do want to get back to it and finish it, but as I've said on the show and on Stick Style numerous times, I am completely, I can probably hold on my hand out of 20 years how many games I've actually finished. Because it's just another game comes up. I'm struggling right now to finish God of War Ragnarok. It is just long. It is really long. And you know what? No, the last game I finished was High on Life. But before that, I couldn't even tell you. And High on Life was like an 8-hour game, I think, total. It was not long. It was fun, but it was not long. God of War Ragnarok, if you've been following us on Stick Style, the Stick Style show, we, I think we're a little bit over halfway, maybe, possibly. I do want to finish that, but I do want to get back to Immortals Phoenix Rising. You're also, on the Extra and Premium tier, going to get Rainbow Six Extraction. You're going to get the entire Uncharted collection, which, again, understandable. That is one of their go-to franchises. Probably going to be more as the month progresses. Sony doesn't really tell you every single little thing that they're going to do. Over on the Xbox side, on Game Pass, on the console, you're going to get F122, which is an EA Play game, so you're going to need to have EA as well as your Game Pass. Wulong Fallen Dynasty, Valheim, Major League Baseball, or MLB, The Show 23, Way to the Woods, and on the PC side, you're also going to get F122, Wulong, MLB, and on cloud gaming, you're going to get Wulong and MLB again. So the MLB and Wulong Fallen Dynasty is going to be on all of their different gaming platforms, I guess you could say. PC, console, and cloud. Games with gold for this month is going to be Truberbrook, not even sure about that, Sunstrike 4, which is going to be the complete collection, and Lamantium. Don't know about those three at all. Don't even know if I'm going to want to download them. Got way too many other games. And you can catch all the different things that we're playing, whether we're going to Gears of War level 50 or Fortnite or Mother Gunship or just about anything else we're doing. You can find those all on Twitch and on YouTube. We do a lot of the highlights on YouTube. I got to put another highlights package together. But I've been looking for an alternative to Twitch lately, and for a few reasons. The problem that I have with streaming, and it's getting very close to the time where I'm just going to spend the money possibly and get a different site location, because I've been using Blogger, which is a Google product, because it's been free. And if you go to bgfgonline.com, you'll see that I have not updated this thing since I wrote the HTML for it probably 15 years ago. I just haven't, and I really don't have a whole lot of intention to do it any other way. But what I could do is I could hire somebody and get a very good looking website with current technology. And it's hard for me to justify that in many aspects. But the problem I have, we don't ever ask on this show or on Stick Style. We never ask for your money. If you want to donate to us, great. But I am not about that subscription model. I'm just not right now. I have a job. Fremo has a job. Fatal has a job. We all have jobs and different things to do in our life. Gen Xers are busy. We're not retired. We're busy. So the idea of spending 6 to 8 hours in this chair, broadcasting, well, it sounds appealing until you do it. We've talked about it on the show before, where you have no idea how long that is. Like, that is, you got to take breaks, you should stand up, and then you feel compelled. And a lot of Pokimane, Amaranth, Tim the Tap Man, they've all said at one time or another the same thing. Shroud, Ninja, they've all said that even when you're not broadcasting, you're still kind of in the public eye, where actors and things like that, you go see the movie, and if you see them at the store, it's like, oh my God, can I get an autograph? But you don't really think about it too much. When you're an internet star, as of right now in 2023, it's very difficult for you to go anywhere and not be broadcast, not to take pictured of, or not to be pictured or videoed at all. Whether it's coming out of a Dunkin' or, going to a movie premiere or anything else, you're always on. And your viewers and your subscribers feel compelled that when you go out and do these things, these things that they've made you famous for, you know what I mean? Then I know I know a lot of other streamers have said it, and I agree with it. Even when I worked in radio, you feel compelled. If you're popular in any way, shape, or form, whether it's local, small, big, online, offline, movies, radio, it doesn't matter. If you're, I feel that if you're famous in any way and people are willing to pay money and see you, or go someplace and travel to see you, then you should treat them relatively nicely. Now, if I go to the bathroom, which this has happened, I go into the bathroom and somebody goes, hey, what's up? I don't want to talk while I'm in the bathroom. That's just me. I don't want to have a discussion when I'm in the bathroom. Outside of the bathroom, sure. If I'm eating with my family or something, I can see kind of the same point where I'm going to be like, look, I'm eating with my family. How about after dinner, when you see me walking out, I'll hang around for a little bit. But when you're online and you're an Instagrammer, or like you say, you're an influencer, then you're always on. You're just fucking always on, and it's annoying. Because of that, everybody's trying to get that gold ring. Everybody's trying to reach for that brass ring. The problem is that Stick Style and BGFG, we just simply can't compete. It's not. I'm not going to spend 4 to 8 hours playing. And my problem with Twitch is that the second problem is that I don't have breasts. And that apparently seems to be, and I know I'm going to get hate mail for this.
Oh, that's going to give you some hate mail.
100% send me all the hate mail you want, because it's factual. Look at the numbers. It's not a lie. My wife and I have sat there and watched guys with really good content in the just chatting section on Twitch. Really good content. Decent camera, decent audio, but their presentation is nice. But more or less, the content, the things they're saying are good. It's a good discussion. It's a very healthy discussion. And they're struggling to get followers or even viewers or subscriptions. They're just struggling. But yet we've watched several females. Several. Just one popped up the other day. I've said it before. I don't want to give traction to it. One popped up the other day. It was a soccer mom that had the old, the sweatshirt that comes up over the hands because it's got the thumb hole in it. And all throughout, because they're new and they don't get it, they went down to the local big box. Somebody gave them a camera and a microphone. And again, it was your standard, I just started microphone. Gave them that, and they went on there, and they had the sweatshirt with the thumbs that come out the side, and they had it unzipped, and they had it just right around their breasts, and they had a tank top on, low-cut tank top. Okay, I get it. Oh, I'm comfortable that way. Are you, though? Because I watched you on video constantly adjusting everything so that it had the perfect view. You're not hiding it. You know what you're doing. I've seen other female. There's females that are on the music section of Twitch that literally are DJs, and I know a DJ or two, and they're DJs, and they're actually mixing stuff, and they're doing their thing. And whether they're wearing a T-shirt, whether they have breasts or not, it doesn't matter. Their content is legit. They're doing the job. On the flip side, I've also seen people that do that just really like music, and all they end up doing is wearing a tank top, a low-cut tank top, and literally using their computer to mix 2 songs that they like. It's shitty. You can't sit there and bop and turn the knobs. That's bullshit. Any DJ will tell you that's complete and utter bullshit. You're not really adjusting anything at all, and you're certainly not mixing anything, because now if you're not dancing and you have one headphone in, and I see you looking down and you're turning turntables or even the digital turntables, you get a little bit more of my respect. But when you're just sitting there and you hit the button, I watch you hit the button, and you're just turning knobs, you ain't doing jack shit. Yet, the people that don't know any better are giving subscriptions, giving money, whether it's kids, adults, whatever. But like I said, my wife and I watched several female, I want to say broadcasters, but that's such a loose term, Twitch channels that they had absolutely zero to say. They had nothing to say. But they're wearing a tank top with a push-up bra, and that gets, you know what? I digress. Here I am looking for an alternative to that. And there's plenty out there. Mixer was a viable one. I don't know why Microsoft quit on Mixer. Mixer was great. But you have YouTube, you have Facebook, you have Twitch, you have Trovo, you have DLive. Even TikTok and Instagram have their own kind of version of it, more or less. But there's a new one called Kick. And this is backed by Taylor Trainwreck Nickum. Again, he took his 2.1 million followers, I think it was, and moved them over to this platform that he helped create. Now they're saying that the rev split will be 95-5, which is pretty fucking impressive. I want to see how they're going to get around that. I want to see how they're going to do that, really, to get a 95-5 split, because Twitch is 50-50, which bullshit. Anybody will tell you that's on that stream is bullshit. YouTube 70-30, which isn't too bad. And they're using a thing for donations called Kicks that have same-day payouts, which is big. As far as I know, the other ones are like monthly or every 3 months, I believe. And I'm sure they're getting taxed. You should always pay your taxes, regardless, or else you're going to end up in the clink. But the split is better on certain things. You're going to get 95-5 split. I don't know how they're going to do that. I'm interested to see. But their Kicks have a same-day payout, which I think is really cool. So if you have a great day, even if you make an ass out of yourself, you have a great day, you can get a payout right away, just immediately. And I quote, "You'll get a steady income based on hours watched and total viewers you stream to, with an option to be paid out the same day." That's really good. That's really good. I really like that. Not that I have a lot. I'm going to jump on. I think we're going to take one of the shows on Kick, most likely Stick Style. On Kick, just to see how it does, because there's not a lot over there right now, and I went there already. Trainwreck has actually asked you to give the service about a year to smooth everything out. I'm going to be very careful with this, because Twitch has the backing of Amazon, right? YouTube has the backing of Google. Facebook has the backing of Meta. Pretty legit. This is a new one. And right now, unconfirmed, but as far as I can tell, Kick's backers are pretty much crypto miners and crypto companies. So I don't know how far I'm willing to go with Kick yet, but I think we're going to try it by the end of this week, probably beginning of next week. We're going to try a few streams on Kick and just see how it goes. See how many subscribers we get, see how many, not subscribers, but see how many followers we get. And I think that's going to be pretty interesting. Last up in this week's news, Destiny 2 came out, and that's a big one for everybody. Destiny 2 Lightfall came out, and my youngest is playing it, loves it. It was 102 gigabyte downloadable content. 102 gigabyte. That is huge for a game. But there's some issues, and I put a couple of them in here because a couple of them kind of surprised me. The Jotun, I'm not sure I'm not pronouncing that right. Jotunn Exotic fusion rifle is disabled in all crucible modes. Apparently, it was way overpowered or OP. They disabled the Arc Hunter's disoriented blow melee because it was disoriented people for too long, apparently. Don't go to the commendations page. Your shit will just crash, especially on PC if you go there. The Ascendant Scepter mods, Triumph, cannot be completed right now. That's broken, so they're going to work on that. Outside of that, it seems pretty stable. I mean, there's some random stuff that I didn't put in here. If you go to the link in the show notes, then you'll see the actual full listing, and some of them were like really obscure. Like if you tried to get a strand off somebody while you were equipped with a certain grenade and a gun, then your strand wouldn't appear. It was like completely random shit that just I don't think really matters. But not a lot of news for games. I can tell you before we end the gaming segment that I have been playing my VR2. Got it right here. And I can say that I threw my wife on it, which was pretty funny. Threw my wife on it because she wanted to try VR again. And I sat her down, didn't even have her standing up. I sat her down, put it on, and within, I'd say 10 seconds, she got nauseous. And she put it down. She said, nope, can't do it. Okay, that's fair. Some people can't. It's just nothing. You can't explain it, but some people can't. I'm pretty good with VR. And I played Horizon. What was it called? The Mountain. And the problem I had with it was two things. The studio's got a short ceiling, and I'm a tall person. So I couldn't lift my hands up at all, like completely, at all. And that sucked. I punched 2 holes into the into the ceiling trying to climb. But the climbing, like it's a mountain, so I'm climbing. It looked great, just great. I didn't like that it didn't know, like it had me. I'm standing up in the room. The setup for the VR is incredible. It's so next level, and I love it. The opening of the game, you're in a boat and you're sitting down, but I'm standing up in the room. So I didn't really like that too much. I felt that I should sit down, which I did because I had the chair behind me. So I just backed up a little bit and sat down. But the game didn't register it well enough to have me sitting in the boat. Looked great though. You can look around. I love that aspect of a game. Great. As soon as I got into the game a little bit more, I didn't like, I'm sure I can adjust settings. I was getting nauseous by using the thumbsticks to turn because my head would turn. And I was expecting my body to follow, and it didn't. And you can have that happen, which I might turn on and try again. But as of right now, that kind of made me nauseous. And then the absolute end for me was when I had to shimmy across something. And because your bottom of your body isn't really moving, or climbing stuff laterally, horizontally, is not a pleasurable thing, in my opinion. I'm also afraid of heights. So the realistic aspect of climbing up the side of a mountain made me a little sick to my stomach. I had to put that down. But I did play it in Gran Turismo, and I have to say I don't know if I'll ever not play Gran Turismo like that again. VR is the way to go if you're playing a racing game, especially on well, I guess the computer, but in this case, it would be a PlayStation 5. Gran Turismo VR is awesome. Just absolutely awesome. Get your chair, get a comfortable chair, get yourself in a comfortable position. You can use a controller, I would assume, or a wheel. I was using a controller in the headset, a standard controller rather, and it was just next level. It was so delightful. It really was. I have nothing but good things to say about it. I'm looking forward to playing it again. I'm just going to get through God of War, Ragnarok first. I'm going to be downloading today. I'm most likely going to be downloading the drumming game and maybe one other. I'm just not sure which one yet. I long to see Battletank. Battletank on the first VR. I think Battletank on the first VR was so good especially for Gen Xers. It was so good that I would be willing to buy another first gen VR to play just that game, because there is nothing like, I mean, we grew up in an arcade putting our face into a mask and playing Battletank on wire frames. And now you have that game, which is in full 3D, and you're literally sitting in the tank. You look around and you're in the cockpit of the tank. You can design the cockpit of the tank. It's beautiful. Now, if they could take that and add the old Mecha Salt controller to it, gold. Come out with Battle Tank 2, have a controller like that with a few buttons. Shit, you can even use integrate a Stream Deck into it. But they've already said that they have no intention of coming out with a second version of that game. But I'll let you know next week, or next show, I should say, because I don't know if we're going to have one next week. I'll let you know next show on whether or not how good the other games are on VR. And let's get into the last segment of this week, for what it's worth, with some important things. So if you were thinking about tuning out, I suggest you don't. I'm going to need to take a drink for this first story, because it's difficult for me in many ways. What you're seeing is the picture of the video clip. You can find this video clip just about anywhere right now. And all I can say is, when I first saw this, and it's on social media everywhere, when I first saw this is a heinous crime, period. What it is a kid, and we'll get into, more about him. It's a video camera in the school. Kid runs down a female, pushes her, stomps her, punches her, mounts her and punches her, and then when they're pulling him off, kicks her again. She was obviously unconscious right from jump. Heinous. What I want to say before we get into it too far is, what I think is more heinous when you watch the video is the person you see on the left side that's walking, that doesn't do jack shit. She should be slapped twice and fired for whatever she's doing, for not interfering in this fiasco. But never judge a book by its cover. So this is a 17-year-old kid that's 6'6", 270 pounds. All right. For days since I put the story in, there was nothing anywhere in any media about anything more than the fact that it was a 17-year-old kid that claimed that the teacher took away his Nintendo Switch for using it in class, and he decided to chase her down and beat on her. And I knew from watching this and having a special needs kid and knowing how other special needs kids act, I knew this wasn't a rational, normal thing at all. So, and maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm completely and utterly wrong. But here's what I do know. I did a little bit more digging. And what had happened was, first of all, this is not a teacher, it's a teacher's aide. Most of the time, teachers' aides are in special needs classrooms. In special needs classrooms, different children or different kids are given different IEPs or 504s, different things that they need to access or be able to do during class time. That's allowed. It's in their actual itinerary, and it's what they do. This kid might have been like that. I don't know. But 6'6", 270, that's a large person. This kid obviously has anger management issues, and I dare say he might be on the spectrum to have a rationale like that somebody took away. Now, the aide did say that she didn't take the Nintendo Switch. So we don't know how that's going to happen. That'll probably come out in court. But the kid was arrested, and it wasn't even like the type of arrest. If you watch the video, they posted a little bit of the video from the body cam that he was arrested. The way he acts and the way he moves is absolutely a special needs child. Like they separate themselves from certain situations mentally because they either don't understand it or they're just following rules and directions. That is my absolute 100% take on that situation. When you dig a little deeper, you find out that this kid has had multiple offenses. He's 17. He's going to be 18 in like 6 months. They're going to try him as an adult. I'm not 100% sure how I feel about that, because the way, and you can do your own digging, but the things that I saw and read about indicated to me that it's quite possible that the parents didn't really understand what a special needs kids or a special need or a child on the spectrum needed, his needs. There is violence in special needs. There is, because when they get frustrated, when you get frustrated about something, don't you get angry? You do. You get angry when you're frustrated. But in for a lot of kids on the spectrum, their anger and frustration, they lash out. They can't control it, or they apologize afterwards when they calm down, but they lash out. That's what they do, whether verbally or physically. And the fact that this kid did what he did over a Nintendo Switch is irrational to your mind and my mind. But to his mind, that was perfectly rational. And I think you need to look at, first of all, I would, if I was his lawyer, I would absolutely have him tested. I would have a barrage of tests, because the parents obviously didn't, or maybe they did and the school wasn't fitting his needs. It's one or the other. But the fact that the kid had multiple assault charges under 18, multiple other assault charges, that's a problem. That's either a problem with the parents, or a problem with the school system, or just a problem in general that should have been addressed. When you have a child that's violent, I know my wife and I know a family. Again, when you have a special needs child, you become close with a lot of other special needs families because your struggle is the same. When I have somebody that comes to my work that's a special needs kid, or a special needs family, I give them a little bit extra help, because I know that struggle. I know that their iPad that just broke for their 4-year-old. This is that 4-year-old's life. There's no judgment. There's no, hey, let's try something different. There's none of that. It's just, where's my iPad? I want my iPad. And this kid's Nintendo Switch was obviously like that. It was something that was expensive, that he got, that he cherished, that he held on to, and somebody took it away. Whether right or wrong, was he supposed to be doing math at that particular time? I don't know. But it seems irrational to your mind and normal people in society that somebody taking away a Nintendo Switch, because we remember where we were in class and you were passing notes and they took the note, or you were reading a car magazine and they took the magazine, and you didn't get up and beat the shit out of the teacher. This is a little extreme. So you gotta dig a little deeper, because it's out of the ordinary. And I really hope, look, he did something heinous. I'm not justifying that in any way. It's completely heinous what he did. But I think you need to look at other aspects of it first. Now, he's going to be tried as an adult. Should he go to jail for what he did? 100%. He should be detained. But the question I have, and again, because people I know I'm going to get, I know how the hate mail train works. I know how the hate mail train works, and I know I'm going to get some grief for this. But I'm not saying he shouldn't be punished. I'm not at all. He should be punished. What he did was absolutely awful. But I want people to realize that he might not have had full control, or he might not have known better because the parents were checked out, or the parents didn't have any other outlet for him. Look, we can talk about the privileged white people all day long. You know, if you're a rich white person, then you have the ability to take your special needs kid to high-end doctors and spots and places to get the care that they need. Well, guess what? The lower class people don't have that. I didn't have that growing up at all. I know I have ADHD. Not to this. I'm just saying I know I had ADHD and ADD, and my parents simply could not afford to take me to the doctor. It's the same thing. I can tell you from having a special needs kid that it is not inexpensive. Not everything is covered by my wife, God bless her, is an unbelievable advocate for her and for friends of ours. Unbelievable advocate. And all the things that we got and all the things we have in place was from her hard work. And it's not easy for people. Let's make believe this is a single parent household. That single parent has to work to put a roof over this person's head and clothes on this kid. And it's not easy. It's a fucking struggle. It's a struggle every day. Simple things. Eating slower. Don't talk that way about people. You know, don't flip off somebody in the middle of a store. There's so many of these little things that seem normal to them and not normal to us. So I'd love to see the defense attorneys get this kid tested. If he should be detained, and he should be detained, he very should be, because he is harmful to other people. At 6'6", 270, with what he did to this person, that's a lot of anger, and that can't be allowed in society. But this is the same kid that should not be thrown in Gen Pop. He shouldn't be. He's probably going to need to be in an institution until he gets this over with or gets on the proper meds or something like that. I just think it's shitty that the way that the social media portrays him as this massive angry person. Now, when he was walking out, he did spit on the teacher and said, I'm going to kill you. Well, the way the social media portray, I've been in those situations with my kid where he lashes out towards the end, or when he gets in trouble or something, or we'll hear him in his room with the door closed saying some awful shit. They don't have any other way to express themselves. They don't know of any other way. I can guarantee you this kid just thought, I'm arrested by the police. This is bad. And it's her fault. They don't think any other way. This kid doesn't need to be put in Gen Pop in prison. He needs to be put in an institution and get the help that he needs. Okay? I just that's all I'm gonna say about that, because it really bothered me when I saw this, because again, I'm not justifying his crime. Not at all. What I'm saying is, if this was a kid that was just like, I've seen video, people have sent me videos about kids that gang up on another kid. Shit, it happened in our own school. One kid dimed down another kid, so the kid that got dimed out, when he went back to school after suspension, gathered up a couple of his friends and jumped the other kid in the bathroom. That's fucking wrong. Okay, that kid should be punished. Period. End of story. I don't care what it is. Expulsion, arrested. I don't care. They knew what they were doing. But a special needs kid doesn't. They think differently. And we've seen this throughout the past few years with police departments, especially, that are not equipped to deal with special needs students. This school obviously is not equipped. And fuck you to the lady that just stands there. You should be fired and possibly even put up on some charges, because that's some bullshit. All right. Let's switch gears, because every time I look at the picture, I just get even more angry. So let's switch gears and let's go into Douglas Adams, one of my favorite authors. Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. Was it the diner at the end of the universe? Turns out Douglas Adams wasn't too far off. According to the International Journal of Geometric Methods in Modern Physics, and from a physicist's point of view, 42 is actually the fucking answer. Yes, 42 is the answer to the universe and everything. It just is. I don't even have enough good things to say about this. Using just over 500 equations, the paper resolves a comprehensive physical description of dark energy, dark matter, discrete gravity, and unification. And this resolved over 30 outstanding problems in physics. That's big. 42 is what defines our universe. I just think that's great. 42 is actually the answer. That's awesome. I don't care who you are. And finally, this week, I figured I'd end on a funny note, even funnier than the 42 is the answer thing. So, look, I have many reasons why I don't go in the ocean. Many reasons why I don't go in the ocean. But reason number 42, see what I did there? Why I don't go in the ocean is that on February 18th, Diego Alejandro Barra decided to go. He was 35 years old. Decided to go on for a ride on his quad ATV down in Argentina. And you know what? He went missing for 8 days. But they found him. You know where they found him? Inside the belly of a fucking shark. Yep. Inside the belly of a shark. So again, I reiterate that I do not go in the ocean. I don't like going in the ocean. I might go up to my calves, maybe my knee in an ocean, provided I can see the bottom. That's it. The reason why the main top of the fucking list is that sharks have never had to evolve. Not at all. They just got smaller and faster. They didn't even have to learn how to swim backwards. Never. Same thing with alligators and crocodiles. They've really never had to evolve. Not at all. So that is the reason why I don't go. And this guy was missing for, like, where the fuck did he go? Like, how close did he get to the ocean that a shark got him and ate him? They found him in a, there was a fisherman, they were fishing, caught a shark. Of course, you know, shark meat is actually pretty good. But when they cut him open to skin him, they found body parts, and they were unfortunately the wife had to identify one of the arms, which had a tattoo on it. And my God, it was in the shark's stomach. What the fuck? That is not good. Oh, don't go in the ocean. All right. Well, that's enough for me today. That's it for this week. Catch us on Stick Style. And what am I going to be playing? I got to go out to lunch. I have a business arrangement, luncheon thing I have to go to. Yeah, it'll probably be on Stick Style later on this evening, later on this afternoon. And most likely I'm probably going to do some God of War. But if anybody out there wants to do some Gears 5, Horde, or Fortnite or something else, just hit us up. Whoever's playing will probably want to play. So that's it for this week. 10's down. Show's over. So you can find more of this garbage at bgfgonline.com. You can also send us an email with your questions or suggestions at bgfgshow@gmail.com. Find our podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, Overcast, Podcast, Castro, Castbox, Podchaser, and YouTube. Thank you for listening.